You're rolling.
Rolling. Rolling. In my 5.0. I drag top down so my hair can't blow. Grows till stay die. Ba-da-da-ba-da-ba. Did you stop? Nah, I just rolled by or something. Hello everyone! It's a little bit late at night, maybe. Not super late. That's a non-story to start with. Today I'm going to talk about college. Some went, some regretted it, some didn't go and regretted that. Basically what I'm saying is everyone lives with regret. I never went to college, but I recently watched a couple videos about people going to college. I've seen it a lot in the news about the statistics coming out that less and less people are going to college. In general, it's a very fascinating topic to me as someone who didn't go to college, but as someone who always aspired to go to college. I got nothing against college. That's what I'm gonna say first. Well, I have one thing against college, and it's that it costs an ass load of money. A metric ass load of money. But I think that getting your degree, I think that higher education, I think that all of that is very important and very good. And I think also having 4 years of knowing exactly what you should be doing in your life, which is just studying and putting your head down and trying to learn as much as you can, is a good thing. That being said, I've also seen that a lot of my fellow YouTubers here that I would normally not want to group myself with don't think that college is important, or kind of tout a message that you can make it without college. They were self-made on YouTube or whatever, and so who needs college if you can just make your dreams happen, kind of thing, which isn't totally untrue. I was lucky enough to be one of those people that has that asshole path laid out in front of them. I was able to not go to college and support myself financially through YouTube and through acting gigs and things, which was awesome and was a great learning experience for entirely different reasons than college would have been for me. Shouts out to Ashley from Best Dressed. I got cocktails with her a couple nights ago and we were just chatting all about it because I was, digging in and asking her about how she feels post-college, and it was really revealing and interesting. Also, I am one of 6 people in my family, and I'm the only one that does not at least have an undergraduate degree. I don't have a chip on my shoulder, you do. I thought we'd discuss it because I think it's more important to talk about these things openly than to just pretend like we know it all, right? So I'm asking for your advice as well, as someone who didn't go to college, is 24 years old, and is now considering going to school. I wrote a whole diatribe, yes I would call it a diatribe, that's my non-education talking, that would have been not so great because A, I wrote it on a plane, and it was an 11-hour plane, so I didn't have anything else to do, which just means that it's drivel. And B, I was very drunk, so I don't think I'm gonna read this. But since this is a video all about regrets and why I wish I had gone to college, or rather, kind of explaining my situation, let's unpack it just a little bit. First of all, when I graduated high school, I wanted to go to college. I was not one of those people that was like, fuck college. College can suck my D-hole. Like, I really wanted to go to university. In fact, I wanted to go to either NYU, USC, UCLA, or some other very expensive school that I was not very likely to get into. I wanted to go to all the schools that were out of state. I wanted to go to art school. I wanted to go to an acting academy. Like, I just wanted to do all of the artsy-fartsy things that cost the most money. But at the time, I was working, and I had been working since I was around 16, doing stuff with Awesomeness TV, which is a company online, doing random things like traveling to work with 17 magazine, and all that sounds highfalutin. And it was, as a 16-year-old, like, I felt very cool getting let out of school to go to New York to do a photo shoot for a magazine. Like, the ego was built up very quickly for someone who was born in Little Rock, Arkansas and could fit a dime in between her teeth when she was 6 years old. That was very cool for me. That glitz and glam and the idea of being able to be a part of the entertainment industry really appealed to me, and I knew that at the very least, if I wasn't gonna go to college, I wanted to live out of state. I wanted to live in a city where I could pursue YouTube, because my YouTube was doing really well. It wasn't really a career at the time. It wasn't something that you could make money off of very efficiently, but there were a few frontrunners that were doing it well enough that I felt like maybe there was a chance that I could make it, quote unquote, as a YouTuber. What an amazing thing to make it as. And here we are, almost 10 years later. What was I saying before I said that very depressing thing? I'm also one of 4 kids, so knowing that my other 3 siblings were all gonna be going through college, and in the case of my younger sister going to law school, she's going to Vanderbilt, y'all. I got smarties in my blood. Because all of them were smarty smart kids and wanted to go to school, I knew that that was gonna be expensive for my parents. And the selfishness couldn't outweigh my guilt, knowing that I would be making my parents pay a large sum of money, or at the very least get in debt for a large sum of money to put me through school when I was already kind of working and doing my own thing and paving my own path. And when I was considering school, before I kind of came to the realization that I was only ever gonna be an artsy fartsy person, I was trying to fit myself into the box of like, okay, well maybe I could get a business degree and do marketing because I'm on the internet and it would be probably important to do like an online marketing degree or something. Like I was trying to fit myself into like an easily packageable, you know, job fresh out of college kind of degree, which personally, I don't think really exists anymore unless you're like a neuroscientist or an engineer that works on jet propulsion. I'm sure there are a lot of those running around. But just another girl with a business degree probably wouldn't get a job right out the gate or something that I felt very passionate about. I didn't ever allow myself to entertain the idea of art school because people told me the entire time I was growing up that it was like a barista job and it was something that you would never make any money at and that it would be a waste of your parents' money. And when people were applying for school, I remember kids, like 17-year-old kids, shaming other kids that were applying to art school like it was like this thing that would never amount to anything. I had this in the back of my head, not that my parents would have ever shamed me, but I just didn't ever want to go to school for art for that reason because I didn't want to be looked down upon, I guess. It was like societal pressure. When I finally moved out to California and started kind of paving my own way, I was the same age as a freshman in college. I was 18 years old, I was on my own, I did not become a stripper or an escort, which is, you know, phenomenal. Also, you know, both very legit jobs, so I'm not shitting on them. I'm just saying, like, it would have been probably a pretty interesting path for me to go down. I wonder how that would have turned out. I would have learned how to walk in heels a lot better. Either way, I ended up just kind of continuing to pursue my YouTube career, and I got very lucky. I met friends along the way. I went to VidCon every summer, which was like summer camp. I met my boyfriend on YouTube. I would say that I had, in a weird way, the social aspect of college kind of packaged in this bizarro YouTube world because I was meeting all these new people. It was at a time in which YouTubers actually met each other in real life and would go to VidCon and say hi to each other and be friends because there weren't that many of us. Now everyone's kind of caught on to it, so it's not something that, you know, I feel like I know every YouTuber. I 100% don't. But there was a time when I would go to VidCon and I would know every single person that I saw at one of the parties. Like, I even met the Green Brothers at a party and like thanked them for making VidCon such an amazing time because it was such an amazing time. And it's funny because Will and I will look back on it and a lot of those like times were so sweet and amazing. Like, we started dating 4 years ago because we met in a drinks line at VidCon. Like, that's crazy. That is insane. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really grateful that I didn't go to school for that reason because A, I would have never met Will and my life would be so much worse without him. But also, there were so many social aspects and learning experiences, business experiences that I gained from just throwing myself into a career that was kind of an insecure career, something that I didn't really know if it was gonna take off, but just something that I felt like was worth taking a chance on. That would be probably one of the only or the biggest reasons why I don't actually regret not going to school. There are a few other reasons why I don't. So the entire, title of this video is a clickbaity lie, and I am whoring myself out, so sorry. One other thing that I think was really great was that I saved, like I said, an assload of money. Any money that I would have kind of been spending towards my student loans, I was able to, have my own apartment. I lived with roommates for 2 years. or 3 years before I got my own place. But even then, it was really interesting because it was like living in a sorority house in a lot of ways. I lived with 3 other girls, Jen, Lauren, and Andrea, and it was awesome. Like, I felt like I had the college experience that I needed for 2 years, and then I was good. Like, I would love to see people on the weekend, but I've always been kind of an old soul, and like partying has never been my biggest thing in the world. So the idea of being in like a traditional college partying scene never really appealed to me that much. I was happy for what happened because I was able to support myself. I was able to, you know, feed myself and clothe myself and pay for opportunities that I wouldn't have been able to pay for otherwise, like flights to go see Will in London, you know, different things where I just wasn't worried because I wasn't paying off this massive amount of debt in the background, and or I wasn't, you know, repaying my parents for the massive amount of debt that they would have gotten in to put me through college. I think more than anything, when I talk to my siblings about school or when I talk to people who have recently graduated or whatever, I think college provides this cushion from the outside world where you can learn and develop your personality, your friendships, like the things that you love and the things that you hate, all in a place that is allowed time. You're allowed 4 years to figure out what you're gonna do with the rest of your life. And it's not that long, actually, which is another thing. Like, I think I would be worried that I would spend that cushion time doing nothing because I'm prone to that. And unless someone forces me to do something, I'm not gonna do it. So I think that would have been trouble for me. And then I think also like the question of having to switch majors, I would have been one of those people flip-flopping majors constantly because I would want to do marketing at the beginning and then decide I wanted to do design and then decide that wouldn't make me any money and then try to do something else. Like, I would have flip-flopped like crazy and it would have been disastrous for me. I just know it. On the money thing, again, one more time, I will say that one reason I'm glad that I didn't go to school is that now, because I'm older and I have stockpiled my money and I have like a nice little nest egg to come home to, I can pay for school out of pocket by myself and be totally fine and probably not go into debt because A, I'll probably go to school out of country because the US is a scam, and B, I got cash. I've done brand deals. I'm fine. I'm doing just fine. Speaking of brand deals, I said I needed to pay for college. I'm gonna go to art school, so just, you know, like, give me a second, just give me a little bit. Here it is. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. Here it is. Oh, hi, look, it's me somewhere else looking slightly different. What does that mean? Usually a brand deal. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this vid. I feel like it was appropriate to put this in as a sponsorship because I'm talking about alternative ways of learning other than college or trying to better yourself in some sort of way, and I feel like one of the best ways to do that is by taking courses on Skillshare. Obviously, I'm not equating Skillshare with a college degree, but it is awesome to take things that you've always wanted to learn or classes you've wanted to take and put them A, on your computer, and B, make them a little cheaper. So Skillshare, if you haven't heard about it before, it is an online learning community with over 25,000 classes, which is nuts, from design, business, and so much more. Premium memberships give you access to any courses or classes you want to take. For me, a lot of that has been trying to learn more about art and illustration, especially on the computer or on the iPad. I use Procreate on the iPad Pro to do most of my doodles and animations that you've probably seen sprinkled throughout my videos. So along with animation illustration, I am obsessed with some of the people that teach classes on Skillshare. For instance, Sarah Anderson. She's known for Sarah's Scribbles, which was a really popular Tumblr page. I don't know if you guys remember it. I love Sarah's Scribbles. So seeing that she had a class about how to do illustrations and webcomics, I found that really, really interesting. Another one that I really love is Matt Koffenberg's class. It's from concept to final artwork, and it'll help you kind of just hone in on making your characters look more alive, like adding textures and color adjustments and things. So the first 500 of my subscribers who click the link in the description box will get a 2-month free trial, and then after that, an annual membership only costs $10 a month, which is dope because you can keep learning and doing cool stuff. I think it's an amazing place to learn, connect, and in general just feel like you're bettering yourself in some way. So definitely check it out. Click the link in the description box if you want a free 2-month trial. That would be dope. Thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Back to me talking about something else. Let's do it. So I am probably, I'm applying now, going to go to art school at the end of this year. That's what I'm hoping for, or at the beginning spring semester of next year. I have thought about this for a really long time. One thing that I've really struggled with not being in school and having a job that is not regular at all, I have no structure in my life. And I think that's one thing that school does offer you, is the ability to plug in and throw yourself in and do assignments and be forced to do work and be forced to hone in on your talents, whether that be if you're trying to learn how to do calculus or something, I don't know, can you tell that I'm artsy? Or in my case, if you want to hone in on illustration and graphic design, but also want to test out a little bit of ceramics up in here and fine art, because I haven't done oil painting in a hot minute and I miss it. I miss it. I want it so bad. Payne's Gray, I'm coming for you. I miss it. So I want to go, and now I am afforded that luxury because I can afford that luxury. And I'm not worried about it, and I'm not gonna put my family in debt, and I'm older now, so I can look at what I wanna do and say, I'm not 18. I'm not what I consider a kid, like, not to be one of those people. I'm 24, I'm not aged. But when I think about me as an 18-year-old, like, I didn't fucking know what I was doing. Are you kidding? I was a little fart. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. And I think I still don't know what I'm doing, 100%. But the fact that I can admit that and try to better myself in a way that I see fit to do so, and in a way that I think will empower me and make me feel better about myself, and also allow me to meet new people and hone in on skills that I've always wanted to take the time to hone in on, but have never taken it seriously enough. I'm glad that now I have the foresight to be able to say that this is a good idea for me and something that I can get excited about without anxiety, or thinking that maybe I'll regret this decision or regret the amount of money spent. Like I said, that's one thing that I think is crazy, is that it is so crazy expensive to go to school in the US. I mean, it's expensive, I think, everywhere. No, it's not. I know it's not expensive everywhere. When I look at schools in the UK, it is shocking how expensive they are compared to the US. Like, at one point I wanted to go to USC, and that was gonna cost me $60,000 a year. $60,000 a year. Let's like do some quick math about how many students go every year and how much tuition that is on average. How do those numbers make sense? Like, why does any university need that much money? You know what I mean? Like, why do you actually need that much money? And where does it go? Because I've seen the school lunches and they're not that great, honey, although the campus is gorgeous. But what I'm saying is, if I can go to the Royal College of Art, which is maybe the #1 art school in the world, for at most 14,000 pounds a year, please sign me up. Here I am. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. It's baffling to me, and I think it's something that we've seen as normal, and I don't want to come across as someone who thinks that school is not important or not worth it, but I do think it's going to be something in the next decade that we're really gonna have to deal with, is the student debt crisis. Like, most people have student loans, and I think that is worrying that we have built our society on these student loans. Like, I remember when I was applying for a credit card, one of the questions they asked me was, do you have any student debt? Do you have any student loans? Because that'll help you get a credit card. And I was like, why would that help me get a credit card? Why is being in debt already helping me be in more debt? I always found that really bizarre and weird and like a double standard, but it's a thing. America loves to be in debt, and I think it's really worrying. I think it's so worrying. If you don't know what you're passionate about, like if you do not know what job you need to be doing, unless you have a specific focus that requires higher education, I would think about it a little bit. Maybe take a gap year and think about it. I mean, that's just me coming from a perspective of feeling like I am worried for people who are in debt. Also, trade schools. Like, people do not emphasize enough how important trade schools are, or community colleges, places that don't cost a fat ass load of money. Like, it's just, It's insane, and I think we need more tradesmen. We need more people who do specific jobs and work with their hands and know things. I understand why there is a want and a need for parents to see their kids get a degree, because it is something that was so drilled into them when they were growing up, and something that absolutely helped them when they were going into the workforce was having a degree. But now as we get older and so many jobs operate on the internet and so many jobs are, well, A, we don't have that many jobs, but B, jobs that are self-made or entrepreneurial have been going up like crazy in America. I just don't really see the absolute need for a college degree 100% all of the time. I'm not discouraging you from going to college. Like I said, I'm going to college next year. I think it's really important for me to go, even though it's a degree that probably won't make me any money. It will make me incredibly happy and fulfilled. This was a lot. This was a lot. I didn't even go over the stuff that I was supposed to say, by the way. I just started talking and didn't stop. I'll also say real quickly, like, pros and cons of college, like the things that I kind of thought about before I started making this video. A, if you go to college with the age group that you are currently in, aka going straight out of high school, I think that you have a better chance of feeling a sense of camaraderie and making friends that are your same age, which I think would be really, really helpful, especially if you're in a new city or if you're going to a school or place that's out of state. I think like having a place where it's easier to connect with people is awesome, and I think college affords you that. It makes you a more eligible job applicant. I think all of that is absolutely still true depending on the job. But a lot of places won't even look at your resume if you don't have a college degree, so I totally get that. You get to further your knowledge of whatever course you're on, whether, like I said, that be microbiology or fashion design. You get to learn more about the thing that you want to be doing, which is great. You have the mental security of knowing that you are there for 4 years. Like, you can figure it out there, and I think that's really powerful, and not a lot of people talk about that. Feeling like you have a place to stay for 4 years. Also, it allows you to make connections in an industry that you are trying to pursue. And I specifically mean this in the entertainment industry, and I've heard that talked about a lot, is that most people work with people they went to school with. And that can happen in all industries, but especially industries where there's a lot of nepotism. It's easier to get in on the right track if you are going to school with the right track. So I understand that as well. Now the cons, if I'm breaking them down, are that the concept of college doesn't really match up anymore. The things that are portrayed in mainstream media, this like partying culture, the feeling of fitting in immediately, the feeling of finding friends immediately, the feeling of knowing where you are and feeling secure in that, all of that doesn't necessarily happen. And I've heard that from a lot of people that went to college. The overstimulating image we have of college as this like insane party 24/7 or like insane cram fest with your friends 24/7 doesn't necessarily exist. And I think when people go to school, that it's kind of a letdown. I would hate to feel that way, and I think I would feel that way. Another con is that you don't know who you are at 18 unless you absolutely know who you are, and you're paying a crazy amount of money to figure out who you are in 4 years. And I think in specific cases, you could do that same figuring out without getting into debt and without going to college in the first place, depending on who you are. And I think people are scared to consider those options. Debt is a big one. Being in debt scares the hell out of me. And I think that is a valid fear to have. And I think student loans are gross and grossly misused in this country. Another thing that I think can be worrying about college, or maybe not worrying, but more so just something to consider, is that one thing that you thought you were really passionate about, depending on the college you go to and depending on the courses you go to and depending on the professors you have, you could go into something thinking, I want to be a video game designer or whatever it is. And when you go in to actually take the courses that would be required for you to get that job, you might hate it. And that's not a bad thing. It means that you're doing the wrong thing. But I think that is kind of a fear that I would have, like I said, of choosing something that I would be so sure I would love. Like I said, marketing or writing or something like that I would have chosen early on. I would hate to become so disillusioned with that sphere of work just because I had a bad relationship with it in college. it's kind of sucky to have to be forced into a career when you're younger that you don't necessarily know if you want to pursue or not. I mean, obviously everyone has to work, everyone has to get a job, everyone has to earn money so that they can feed themselves and wear things and have running water, because those are things that we all need probably, unless you live in a nudist colony that doesn't bathe. I don't want to be in that nudist colony. All I'm saying is, you gotta get your paper, you gotta get paid, and the easiest way to do that is to apply for a job, and if you apply for a job without a college degree, it makes it a little bit harder to get a job depending on which one you're applying for. I think I don't know, I just worry for generations before and after me. I just worry for people. I worry for people because I'm in a very privileged position, and I feel that a lot. I feel that I am privileged, and it makes me worried for everyone else, because I look around and I'm like, how are you guys doing this? How are you spending so much money on college? How are you like operating in the real world? I can't fathom it, but I'm gonna go to art school. Peace out, bye. I think I just wanted to have like a discussion online about this, and I was hoping that someone else would engage with me. So if you wanna comment down below and let me know what you think. If you went to college and are so glad you did, please comment down below. I would love to hear from you. If you went to college and were like, it was all right, I guess, you also are welcome to comment. If you didn't go to college and you want to go to college, or you're not sad about not going to college, I'm just saying anyone can enter in their own opinion. Submit it below. I would love to hear from you. And once again, click the link in my description box to go and try out Skillshare, because like I said, I am an uneducated person. I take classes online at Skillshare and learn many new things, and it's very helpful. But I also, need to make that paper so I can go to art school. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys for the next video. Bye.